Hi viewers, welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Barista Andrea. So basically in today's video, we are going to look at how you can easily steam milk for a perfect latte art. I believe most of you have been asking me different questions on how you can easily perfect your latte art, but I really can't record a video for the latte art beginners without looking at how you can easily learn how to steam milk perfectly. So what are the things we are going to look at while steaming our milk to get the right flow, the right temperature, and the right positioning of your pitcher? We are going to look at the pitcher size. Like you see, I have 3 pitchers. Each pitcher has a purpose. I use this small pitcher, which is 200 mils for, let me say, cortado, macchiato, flat white. Then you're going to find me using this 400 mil pitcher, basically to make a 1 cup of cappuccino, latte, Spanish hot, anything, or even a flat white. Still, you're going to find me having our 600 mils pitcher, which is going to help me steam 2 cafe lattes, 2 cappuccinos, and many others. So basically, I am not going to first focus on these pitchers, and we are going to use this glassed pitcher. I use it for my V60, but I decided to use it as a demonstration. So I am going to use 3 things while demonstrating. First, I am going to use water, then second, detergent or liquid soap, and lastly, the milk, and give you the different reasons as to why I am using each of them. So when it comes to the milk, I know many companies make milk, and milk is categorized in different ways. We have the low fat, full fat, skimmed milk, and many other milks like free lactose milk. But the right milk to use is already full fat milk. Contains some of the elements which are really going to help us create that perfect flow, the perfect taste, and the right latte art while pouring in our cups. But that doesn't mean that without full fat you can't use low fat to create a latte art. It depends on how experienced you are. Again, in the milk section, we are going to look at the temperature. Let me say you're trying to make a cappuccino. What degrees or what temperature are you supposed to heat that milk or steam that milk? Remember, I showed you in one video that I use my 3 fingers while steaming. I get hold of my pitcher like this. This gets to measure 30 degrees. The second one 60, and the last one 90 degrees. But mostly when it comes to a cappuccino, or when I want to evaluate the milk beverage, I'll always steam it between 50 to 60 degrees, because without that high temperature, I'll be able to test the different flavors, different aromas, and anything that we're really looking for out of the milk beverage. I know most of the customers ask for very hot. When it comes to cappuccino, cafe latte, we try our level best to put it at 80, but trust me, when it is at that degrees or temperature, you are not going to get any flavor, because you have burnt all the fats out of the milk. If you try at least to burn a little between 50 to 60 degrees, some of the fats within the milk are going to stay in, so that they can get to entangle with the what? With the espresso to have a perfect blend for your test. While steaming our water, what are we going to look at? We are going to look at the reaction while steaming our milk. Every time we're trying to steam our milk, there is that tornado we are looking for. There is that rotation or the tornado that we are looking for, especially when we have started steaming. Most of the baristas have a tendency whereby every time we get to set our pitcher into the steam wad, we just make it straight, which is really going to cause either bubbling outside, the milk splitting into your face, or making too much noise. So every time you place your pitcher into the steam wad, at least twist it a little bit on your left or on your right. So every time you're trying to steam, you're trying to look for that perfect position for our milk to rotate. Then the other thing, every time you're trying to steam, please don't place your steam wad onto the base or the bottom of the pitcher, because every time you're trying to steam, it's going to make crappy or nasty noises, which are really going to chase away your customers. Once you steam, when your steam wad is out of the milk, it's going to create that big bubble float, which you're not going to like, hence pouring or wasting that milk trying to steam another perfect milk for your cappuccino or your beverage. Still, we are going to look at the steam wad at the machine. Remember, we have a steam wad which helps us produce the steam that is going to help us boil or steam our milk. Then when it comes to also steaming, one thing that you shouldn't forget is that most of the baristas have a tendency whereby when we open our steam while steaming, we first open half. Every time you open half, you are not going to get what you are looking for. Every time you open half, the milk is going to take long while you are steaming. Then the other thing, it's going to make too much noise, like I think you've heard most of that noise, delaying your order. So what are you supposed to do while steaming? What I do is Immediately I insert my pitcher into the portafilter. I open at once. So every time I open at once, that steam is really going to first save my time while while trying to steam my milk beverage. And every time you open up the steam at once, you are going to really have the confidence to stretch in and out due to that much pressure. So sometimes you just have to get used to your steam and get to train with it, whereby you can easily learn how to get your pitcher or position your pitcher while the steam is very high. So I would advise every barista watching this video that always open your steam at once. But remember, while opening it at once still, make sure that this steam wad has a nozzle right here, like you see it here. So every time you get to steam, make sure that this nozzle at least is in the milk. It is in the milk. So every time you try to stretch, it slightly goes out of the milk, then pss, 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 pss. Still, that takes me to another point whereby most of the baristas still, while steaming, every time we like overstretching, whereby you overstretch, the froth is going to rise highly, whereby you are not going to control it easily. It's going to pour out, hence leading to a low temperature of your beverage, which we are not looking for. So every time you're trying to steam your milk, try your level best to stretch out slightly. Pss, pss, pss. That is the froth that you're creating, and hence burning some of the fats, which fats are also going to contribute to the increase of the what? Of the froth. So then the other thing, let's look at barista positioning. Most of the baristas don't know how to position yourself. Yes, I believe that some of us, the heights are not the same. Our heights are not the same. You're going to find some of the baristas are stretching their level best to reach the machine and to see what is taking place in the pitcher, but that's not the position. Always talk to your boss, at least to put either a stair or a ladder whereby you can easily see what is going on. Now let me say this is the pitcher. Always look straight to the node and to the steam wad. Let me say when you're trying to steam, make sure that this handle looks in your chest, outlet points into the machine. So every time you try to steam, you just bend it a little, pss, pss, pss. So there it's becoming much more easier for you to strain or to stretch out your milk while in the right position. I think with all that, let's get started with our water. Why am I using this water? Basically, this water is going to help us see what really takes place when we are boiling or steaming our milk. Every time we're trying to steam our milk, we have to create the tornado, the rotation. So this is what really happens. You first purge out so that you get to release that water out. Then, like you see me, I'm standing straight, then try to position my pitcher. Then I stretch, I stretch, I stretch. So like you see this water, it is trying to rotate, like you see there. So when I get to raise the temperature, I will stop. So like you see, our water is still what? Our water is still rotating. This is what is really going to happen while you are steaming or stretching your milk. While stretching, you have to utilize the fats that are still in the milk to create the what? The perfect froth. So in our second phase, we are going to use soap. Water mixed with soap. So remember this soap, it has a lot of froth, whereby it's very hard for one to easily practice with it or try to create a perfect froth. Once you are a student or a profession and you really see that your steaming skills are really down, I would recommend you to use liquid soap mixed with water. It doesn't have to be much liquid soap in the water, because once you put too much, it's really going to overstrain out the froth, hence pouring. So you have to put or pour a little soap into your water, like you see. So after pouring the soap, what are we going to look at while steaming the soap? We are going to look at the stretching of the froth. How the water rotates with the what? With the soap, which is really going to happen while you are boiling or steaming milk. This is the position where I am going to slightly bend it and open at once. Then stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slightly. So after getting the perfect froth, I am going to boil it. Like you see, it's rotating. I've gotten the perfect position whereby the froth is mixing with the what? With the liquid. So like you see, I can't easily pounce it down because this is a breakable glass, but let's witness this. The milk has blended with the froth, or the water has blended with the froth. So what happens? What reaction do we see here when you release your milk after steaming it? Let me say you're trying to be distracted by something else. We are going to see the froth rising up and the milk or the water going down. It is going to separate, which is really going to be very, very, very hard for a barista to pour this. That's why you're going to find some of the baristas pounding, then swirling. Pound and swirl. Like I've told you, I can't pound this because it's breakable. But once you pound and swirl, we are trying again to mix the froth with the milk. But if I try to do this, I pour the milk, let me say I pour it at this stage, I'll be only pouring the milk out or the froth out, which is really going to disturb us while making our latte art or even the beverage. So once you get a spoon in your beverage, you're going to see that it's milky or without any froth. So once you see this is the reaction that happens if you release or if you put down your milk and get distracted or try to do other things. So using our soap, let me put it aside. When it comes to our milk, let me get one of my pitchers. Most of the baristas have a 600 ml pitcher. Most of we baristas are being told that we have to pour our milk up to this point. Like you see, look inside, it has this point here. So they tell us that you have to pour your milk up to here. But messing with many baristas, or a barista's secret is that, remember, latte art is comprised of froth. Once you have the perfect and right froth, you are going to have a perfect latte art. So what do? I pour my milk underneath this line. So I'll pour it up to here. You get my point? Not straight to this line, but up to here. So every time I try to stretch my milk, I'll have to make sure that it ends at this point where most of the baristas, we are told, because this is a perfect froth. The distance between the second point and the third point is just a perfect froth for us to start up or create a perfect latte art, like you going to see. I'll hold my pitcher like this. We have different ways on how we hold pitchers. You're going to find a barista holding the pitcher like this. I think this is clear. Like this. You are going to find another barista holding it like this. You get that? Then you are going to find another barista holding the pitcher like this. All these are different ways or techniques on how you can easily get the right temperature after creating the perfect froth for your latte art. This is how I hold mine. Then pull up the steam wad. It's supposed to be straight, not in different angles. And I'll bring it straight like this. Then tilt it a little. Straight, then tilt it a little. Every time I steam, one of the baristas asked me that, how long does it take you to steam? Once I press, let me say I'm extracting an espresso for a cappuccino, a cafe latte or anything. Once I press, remember cappuccino, remember the extraction takes 20 to 30 seconds. So immediately I press, I start steaming. Sometimes I am going to find myself finished with the steaming when the espresso has not yet, or we are going to finish at the same time, or the espresso will be faster than me in different seconds. So roughly it's going to take me 20 to 30 seconds, like an espresso what? An espresso extraction. So I'll open, tilt it a little bit, then stretch as I am boiling. So after the stretch, I am starting to boil to raise the temperature that I want. Then I'll stop. It has to end at that point where most of the baristas, we are told that the milk is supposed to end. So my froth has stretched up to that point, and it's going to really help me a nice pour during my during my latte art. So like you've seen, after steaming our milk, you are going to be a very good professional steamer once you practice those 3 steps. So basically that's all that I had for you today, which is all about steaming and perfecting your steaming skills. So basically in the next video, we are going to start with a latte art for beginners. Just in case you're new to this channel, please make it a point to subscribe, because where this video came from, many more are coming their way. See you in the next video.